Hello, and you're very welcome to Mind Blowing number 22. I'm Paul Gill.
And I'm Siobhan Lyon, and today we're going to be talking about the exciting topic of hypnosis, which is Paul's speciality.
It's my thing, hypnosis. And I'm doing this because we're posting these videos, podcasts. We're posting them on YouTube and various other podcasts where they're just audio files. But somebody has asked me, would I talk a little bit more about hypnosis? And to me, I'm so used to I suppose being in a hypnotic state of mind. I'm in and out of hypnosis all the time in trance. But to some people it's a complete mystery. So maybe if I can
just explain what is hypnosis actually, because a lot of people don't understand what it is.
Right.
A lot of people have a lot of fears around it.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's mind control.
Yeah, it's not like that.
And the truth is that it is mind control, but it's not necessarily other people controlling your mind. It can be, but you can have that without hypnosis.
Yeah.
People do control other people anyways.
Absolutely. Manipulation.
Dominant personality.
Yeah.
So hypnosis, an example of hypnosis is if you've ever driven in your car from where I am today, where we are this morning, we're in Athlone in Ireland. And I used to drive from here to Galway on the west coast before the motorway was built. So you drive through all the smaller towns, Ballinasloe, Lochray, Ardmore into Galway. It takes about an hour and a half on the old road. And I'm so used to doing it day in, day out, that it became automatic. And I would find myself kind of going, oh, I'm just coming into Galway now. God, that time flew. Yeah. I don't remember going
to
anymore.
Did I pass through Lochray at all?
Yeah, I have no memory.
Yeah.
And you kind of, how is that possible? How is it that you can't remember something like that? And the reason why it is possible is that your mind has split on the journey. Part of your mind knows how to automatically drive the car. When you were learning to drive, it was a task. It was something that you had to consciously learn. You had to study and think, where do I press my foot? What gear am I in? What do I need to look out for? But after a while of doing that, that process was taken over by the subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind runs apps very much like your phone does, automatic patterns of behavior. And now you've got the driving app. So for people who've been driving any length of time, they'll sit into the car, they'll have the seatbelt on, and they're going without consciously being aware that they've done all of that in a few seconds.
That's a great example, because it's like automatic pilot, you're just you're going with motions now that you know how to do it. It's seeped into your subconscious.
So for people who don't drive, another example of hypnosis is, if you remember back to when you were in school, and I was the daydreaming kid in school.
Yeah.
I would be there and kind of listen to the teacher. And just listlessly looking.
Staring out the window.
Yeah, you might look at a bird in a tree or something, or and you totally forget that you're in class. The teachers, you get this like sometimes at religious ceremonies as well. I remember Mass, like I'd be kind of just
Jesus, I dreaded it.
Yeah, that kind of thing, especially like around Easter when you have longer ceremonies.
Did anything funny ever happen in Mass, by the way?
What do you mean?
Laughing?
No, well, I haven't burst out laughing. I nearly fainted in Mass once. It was one of those Easter ceremonies. Actually, I got lightheaded and went blind. And I remember, like, I kind of go, what do I do? And I knew that people beside me had stood up because I could feel their shoulders. So I kind of like stood up then too. And then they sat down. And okay, I'm holding on to the front. And then I let the crowd kind of move me out of church again. And when I hit the fresh air, I kind of came back. But I was effectively unconscious standing up in Mass. I thought, is that a religious experience or am I ill?
The Holy Spirit descended upon you.
Me. I needed a drink or something or fresh air.
Yeah, you probably didn't eat your breakfast like your mother told you.
Yeah.
See, this is the problem. She listens to nobody.
I don't listen to them. It's a rule I have, and we'll explain that.
He's learning, though. Okay. He's learning.
I'm resisting. And resistance isn't futile, it's effective.
Is that part of your hypnosis thing?
Yes, it's my eyes. I'm not listening to it. So
yeah, go on anyway.
When you daydream, you go from a normal conscious state of awareness to where you're a little bit listless, you're off thinking about stuff. You get this too if you have a conservatory or a sunroom or a nice chair and you sit into it and you're reading a book and you're kind of, somebody says, you still reading that old book? And you go, yeah, I've only sat here like, and I said, no, you're there an hour. And you don't know you've been there an hour. You get lost in movies. So it's this state of mind where your mind wanders. Okay. And what that is, you haven't just got one state of mind, you've got many, many states of mind. It doesn't mean you've got multiple personalities, but you've got many ways of being. And if you use the extremes, say somebody who maybe, I was going to say somebody who's asleep, but if somebody say was in a coma,
Yeah.
where there can have very little activity going on in the brain.
Yeah.
But they can still be aware at certain level. And that's probably something else that we might talk about in the podcast, is that people who've had maybe near-death experiences have left their bodies,
Yes,
doing that,
so interesting.
or another one, which is, and I've interviewed people about this previously, people who have been aware after they've been given an anesthetic and they're aware during the operation.
That's like my biggest fear, or being buried alive or something like that.
Yeah. I'll make sure you're dead.
Jesus, you better.
I'll do that for you.
Making better.
So
I'm not going to be very big today.
So you can have this, you're in a cremated?
Yeah, definitely.
I tried that once, it didn't work. It did actually. You pay attention.
I'm trying.
Work with me
I'm
here.
not focused.
You're in a state of hypnosis. So you can be in this comatose state, you're totally out of it, through to sleep, through to kind of daydreaming, through to awareness, through to having a higher state of alertness too. You can have this like, you know, when you're super fine-tuned that you can almost hear the grass grow.
Wow.
Or insects crawling around. So you have this big range, and most of the time we kind of swing like a pendulum over and back through this range on a daily basis. So the value of like hypnosis for therapy is that it gets you into a particular state of mind that you're not normally in when you're worrying about a problem. So when you have a problem, you are reacting to that problem, regardless of what the problem is, and you're reacting emotionally towards the problem.
And in that, like, you guide people through a certain imagery.
Yes, it's like progressive relaxation. So if you were to implant ideas into somebody's head, you mentioned the thing that you want to do. So let's say a nice sandy beach and the water's around your feet and feel the coolness of it, and you're there. Everybody is there because most people have been on the
experienced
beach.
it.
But the thing, Siobhan, is even if you've never experienced it, your mind will pull its nearest match. Something you've seen on telly.
Oh yeah.
So like, I don't know if you ever jumped out of a plane.
No,
I haven't jumped out of a plane, but I know what that's like because I've seen people do it on telly. I've seen it on films with the cameras going. You go. Ah!
I know. I can just feel it myself in my stomach.
Yeah,
lightness.
So you can imagine what it feels like.
Yeah.
Your imagination kicks in and fills in the gaps.
Yeah.
And makes it your own experience. So you can bring to bear a part of your mind on the problem that changes how you feel about the problem. So you're changing your emotional reaction. And also then you can actually disassemble the problem, because the problem, whatever it is, say it's a trauma, something happened to you in childhood. Bad and all as the trauma has been, it's what you've been doing with the trauma since then that has caused the problem. The way you've been thinking about it, turning it over in your mind, and even if you don't want to think about it, you'll suppress it or repress it. And I'm often asked, like, what's the difference between those two things, suppression and repression? Well, suppression is this: you have a bad day at work, you have a row with somebody in the office, you go home, you go, oh, I'm going to think about that. I'm just going to sit down in front of the telly and I'm just not going to. You're out of my head. You know what you've done. You're pushing that situation out of your head. That is a suppression. You're in charge of it. A repression is where your subconscious mind does that for you automatically, and it doesn't tell you that it's done. All you know is that you don't know something. You've got this feeling about something. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you've got this feeling within you that makes you feel maybe bad or scared in certain circumstances. You don't know why. Yeah, that's usually the sign that your subconscious mind has repressed something, so puts it away. And do you remember those old Indiana Jones films?
Yeah,
there's new one coming up now. I think it's the last in the series to come out soon. Where there was one where I think it was the Ark of the Covenant, where this covenant that Moses, all that kind of stuff, and it's hidden away in this kind of a chest, and it's in a pit somewhere. And the Nazis are trying to get it, and Indiana Jones, but it's there, and there's this kind of green light kind of oozing out of it, and the kind of it goes down the side of the box, and then it goes along the ground, and kind of that's a little bit like what a repressed memory is in the mind. Your subconscious mind exerts a huge, humongous amount of energy trying to keep that thing out of your awareness, trying to repress it, but it leaks out and it starts to pollute.
It's like putting food into a bin. That's how I describe it to my clients, because EMDR is not hypnosis.
They're related. They're very closely related.
I think, I think we do a lot of the same work about trying to, remove those memories. Actually, take the lid off the box and let them out bit by bit.
Yeah, but
and just in a safe
and that's the thing, bit by bit.
Yes.
Don't like a tsunami.
I don't think. I've never had a case actually where everything has just flooded out. And I remember my mother saying years ago, actually, that, you know, God will never give you a cross that you can't carry or something like that. So even though I'm not religious and you know, I'm not big into that, I think it's a very good way of describing actually what happens in therapy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you get enough.
Your subconscious tries to protect you, you see.
Yes.
More often than not.
For you.
But sometimes a repressed memory can pop out.
Yeah, yeah.
And catch
yeah,
the person.
as a flashback. Is that the same then as flashback then? Or what
I had a client many years ago. I was sharing a clinic with another hypnotherapist, and he had this little kind of biofeedback monitor where you clip onto somebody's finger. And it measures the sweat on the finger.
Oh.
So you can tell if the person's becoming agitated or relaxed, because the more agitated you get, the more you're going to sweat. Even though it's below perception, you don't know. It's a bit like a lie detector machine.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like that.
The reason we had it was that when you are bringing somebody into trance and trying to deepen the trance, you start off with a figure. It's 100, and over the next 10-15 minutes, the person should maybe go down to about 40.
Okay.
And it shows that their heart rate has dropped, their perspiration has dropped, and they're nice and relaxed.
Yeah.
I was doing a visualization with this lady, and I, for some reason, I just felt inspired to use the analogy of a lift. That you go to a lift and you press the button and you step into the lift, and the lift is going to take you down into your subconscious mind, down through all the floors, the levels within your mind, right down into your subconscious. Works really well. And when I was doing this with this lady, the digits on the machine, instead of going down, the rest you got up and up. You get more and more agitated. I was going,
oh my gosh,
what's wrong?
Happening?
And I said, there's no point in continuing with this. I said to her, what's happening for you? What do you mean? And she started to kind of get really agitated. And she said, a recurring dream just popped into my head. I totally forgotten about this dream. And I said, what's the dream? She said, the dream is where I step into a lift and I press the button and it plunges down.
Gosh.
And I said, then, how do you feel about that? I know it's a daft question, but I wanted her to get out the feeling. And she said, when is this fucking thing ever going to stop? And I know I've used the word fucking because that was her words then, and it was appropriate because I said, what fucking thing? And she said, the abuse. She was abused, and we use that term for sex, but she was abused as a child and as a teenager, and it was progressive over a long number of years. And our subconscious mind was going, when is this ever going to stop? And I gave her this dream, this recurring dream of a lift plummeting down. She was out of control, and it was never going to be, it wasn't going to end well for her. And our subconscious mind had repressed that and the memory behind this dream.
And I think just when you're on that, I mean, I think that's why a lot of people are really afraid to come and have hypnosis done, because they're afraid that they won't be in control, or that somehow the therapist is going to be in control of them.
I would contend, Siobhan, that they're not in control if they have to come to me.
Well, yeah, definitely.
You are not in control. If you've got this problem and it's taken over your life, you're not in control of it.
Yeah.
These are very vulnerable, very susceptible. Come to me and I'll help you get control.
Yes, exactly.
I don't take control of you.
That's what it's about more. So it's about helping you gain control over your issues then, rather than
and the wonderful thing is that when people do resolve, you are aware. You're
aware of everything.
You can be hypnotized into sleep, and almost like into a comatose thing. I've done that with myself. So, but it's not. There's no need for it. It's not indicated in therapy, because you want the person to be able to communicate back.
Yeah.
To you. But you know the way, like you might be very sleepy.
Yeah.
You could be at the beach, or you could be,
and
you're kind of you're there, and somebody comes up to you and says, can I go to the shop and get a nice one? You get some. And you're not going to come out of it, but you're aware. You know what they've asked you, and whatever you're aware, you can just get and go off with your handbag and then come back. I thought it was my child. It was somebody else was sleeping. No, I'm joking. But you can be in a state of mind where you have an awareness, but it's not full conscious awareness. It's not fully asleep. It's somewhere in between, and it's extraordinarily useful to observe yourself. Observe yourself and observe your feelings and the connections, and I would say the neural connections, the network that you might make, because they're unique to every individual.
Yeah.
And although, like when I'm interpreting dreams, you can give a broad or wide interpretation. It's really only the dreamer is the proper interpreter of their dreams, because it's what everything means to them, not what it means to me.
So what, I suppose, should people expect if they do come to hypnosis?
Well, for me, I'll sit them down, I'll bring them through a particular questionnaire. The questionnaire allows me to have a look at the bigger picture. What else is going on, has gone on in their lives that might be impacting on the reason that they're there for me. So some of the questions are relevant, some of them are not relevant, but it allows me to kind of form an impression of where this person is coming from. And then I'll explain to them how the mind is set up. And I use the analogy of an iceberg. It's one that many people are familiar with. An iceberg floating in the sea. The top part of the iceberg, the snowy mountain bit, is your consciousness. Your consciousness loves to think it's in charge of everything, that it's in control, but it's not. It's the lesser part of the iceberg. It's logical, rational, reasonable, runs across the course of the day, gets tired, powers down, falls asleep, and your body falls asleep. Your consciousness is not able to be in control of everything. And this explains why we engage in bad behavior. Like everybody knows, don't drink, don't smoke, don't eat that crap, get good sleep, don't be doing that. But a lot of us don't do it because we don't feel like it. Feelings will always trump logic and rationale. Remember, always. So don't beat yourself up if you find it difficult to always do the right thing. Kind of go, well, that's my emotions telling me that. Why is that emotion there? What am I actually feeling? Where else is this connected to? Why is this emotion present now? Is it something that's happened today? You can almost follow your own emotional track and see why you are the way you are. And I can do this with myself wonderfully, and it's my goal to be able to teach people how to do this with themselves, so they instantly know why they're thinking what they're thinking. And it's extraordinarily useful. So after that, then I'll explain to them a little bit about what hypnosis is and what it isn't. And then I'll get them to close their eyes and I'll blend my voice with some background music and get the client to put headphones on. And I'll bring them through a visualization. The visualization, you can relax somebody. You just keep throwing images at the mind of walking along the beach, nice and relaxing, lying in the sun, going into lovely gardens, many different ones. And the person enters into that way of thinking. And then what you do then is you begin to direct them towards where they need to go, whatever their problem ratio, and get the mind to kind of start making connections, because it automatically has made connections to what you've been describing, the beach, the garden, whatever. When you kind of go, connect with that anxious feeling in your body, where is it? What color is it? What texture is it? What else is that connected to? And your mind will just make the connections. And it's so really simple but powerful. And it's very emotional and very cathartic too at times, when people realize, actually, it's that day in school when the teacher took me up in front of the class and I felt stupid and I couldn't work out the maths problem on the board. And that's where all this low self-esteem is coming from. And then I help them in hypnosis. You can reimagine things, put a different slant on things. And the thing that I love doing is bringing their adult self back to that classroom in hypnosis. And so you're there as a child, you're there as your adult self. What do you do? And it's very powerful. Very powerful.
I love doing that as well. If you have somebody who's been traumatized by someone else, and then you change the appearance of the person.
Make them,
you get them to kind of like put on bunny rabbit ears or stupid clown nose, or different things, or you get them to describe what some stupid thing you can put on this person, like to make them look ridiculous or make them look really small.
So again, you're changing the thinking then around the person in the situation. And that, as I said at the outset, that has been the problem, not so much the trauma that's the problem, but the way they've been thinking about it. So when they leave you, they're thinking in a different way. And then that creates its own momentum, because then they realize, actually, I've resolved that problem. This is other thing that I didn't want to resolve either. Now this is resolved, this is fixed. Now I have a tool. Now I know I can actually fix this. And they create this wonderful momentum where they start to sort lots of different things. And that's beautiful. That's really, really satisfying.
That's what self-improvement is all about, really, isn't it?
And it's great when I hear back from people that kind of go, that session you did, it just changed everything.
It's class.
And it doesn't have to take forever. You see, I'm impatient by nature. And although I trained as a psychotherapist and done counseling courses and umpteen courses, someone said, it takes too long. Why don't we just put somebody into trance and we can get just to the nub of the issue in an hour and a half?
Do it,
And to me, it's like, why wouldn't you use, if you can do this, if you can have a way that's very efficient? Now, it doesn't suit everybody, because some people don't want to do it that
some people
way.
want to go on the slow and take it easy.
And they need it like that, and they need to talk it out. And talking therapies, they all work. But hypnosis, it's like a kind of just, it's me. I kind of just let's get in there and do this. Like, you're feeling crap already. Worst that can happen is you don't feel any better when you leave. The best that can happen is you feel a whole lot better. So you've nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
I think we're up to time.
We are.
I've done most of the talking, sorry, but I'm very passionate about what I do.
Hypnosis is your gig, obviously I'm not gonna have much to say on the subject, other than it has been great, I suppose, listening to it and finding out a little bit more about it, even for myself. Like, it's wonderful, you know, because I think different things are going to work for different people, and hypnosis has been, you know, proven, I suppose, in the years to work very well with certain clients.
Yeah.
So, and it's not for everybody, you know. I know people who claim they can't be hypnotized, and if you don't want to be,
I'm just finishing this. I came across, it's happened over the years that there was two people, one in particular stood out. I was having enormous difficulty getting them into a state of hypnosis, and sometimes people aren't necessarily visual.
Yeah,
they kind of find it difficult to imagine things. But with this guy, there was something more going on. I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
But the problem was that this guy had no imagination.
Okay, so maybe he had autism or something.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
And I'd never met somebody at that time with no imagination. It's completely alien to me. Yeah. The reason he had no imagination is his profession. He was a bomb disposal expert, and he never dabbled in what if. It was either you cut the red wire or the blue wire. It's not what if I do this, what if I do that. Everything was straight decision. I do this. This is what I do, and there's no plan B or imagine.
No other outcome.
No. And whether he was like that before he became a bomb disposal expert, or whether he was conditioned to be like that.
Maybe no that's why he became one, because he was just focused.
Yeah, and obviously he was good because he was still alive.
Yes,
So, but hypnosis wasn't for him.
Yeah.
But anybody can be hypnotized. It's whether you'll allow yourself to be hypnotized.
Yeah.
And again, like the therapist is not wresting control of your mind from you, but rather giving it back to you.
Yeah. But that's brilliant. I think that's really good for people to know as well.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Paul. It's awesome. Okay, guys, make sure you like and subscribe us, and any comments down below are much appreciated as well. If there's anything that you want us to talk about again in the future, of course, do let us know. And we'll see you again next time.
Bye.